we have to finish up the transvestigation of Yasser Arafat because this video has been running too long. So let's just do that, and so we can shut down this video real quick. So let's get on with it. So here is a picture of Yasser Arafat when she was much more younger. As you can tell, that is not the face of a young albino Arab male, because people, you have to understand this, all throughout history Arabs have always been African. That means black, woolly haired Africans, like the Africans that you find in Western Africa. All right, current day Western Africa. So this is just so the Arabs that say that they are Arabs today, who have pale skin and straight hair, are not really Arabs. They are Asians. When you get a book, you get that perfect understanding. They are Asians. They are not Arabs. Okay, so they just bear the name Arabs because they overtook that part of the world during the late 1200s to the early 1300s per se. Okay, so let's keep on going with this picture so we can finish this transvestigation. And this Yasser Arafat, as you can see right here, you can see how thick Yasser Arafat gets in the middle, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. You can see the narrow shoulders, but we have more of the structure of Yasser Arafat. We just want to show you this so you can start seeing the narrow shoulders and the wider pelvic region and wider, thicker midsection, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female. Another picture of Yasser Arafat here, sitting with another Vatican stooge. Who knows who this fella is? But you can tell by this curvaceous hips of Yasser Arafat, as you can tell here, that this Q angle right here is below the crotch, as you can see right here. Let me see if I can blow this picture up so you guys can see it very clearly as much as I can. I don't know what's wrong with my mouse today. It's acting up all over the place, so pardon me. See, it's not moving. It refuses to move. Okay, I don't know why it's rolling that way, but here it is. I want you to take a good look at this. This Q angle is below the crotch, and you can see this female thigh of how thick and round and full it looks, because this is a woman sitting. As you can see, this Q angle right here is below the crotch. As you can tell that Yasser Arafat starts spreading from underneath his elbows and gets wider and wider, and the widest point right here is below the crotch. And just looking at how these thighs sit, if you look very well, you can find that there is no such thing as any form of scrotum in here. It looks like a labia right here by the way these thighs sit. Let me see if I can blow this up. I don't know what's wrong with my mouse today. It's acting up. Hold on a second. Let me check what's wrong with it. It's really acting up today. So as you can see right here, it doesn't look like Yasser Arafat has any scrotum. It looks like a labia sitting, and this Q angle is below the crotch, because Yasser Arafat, the leader of the so-called Palestinian organization, used to perpetrate the fraud of mind control on the world so that people can believe in the false messiah that they are going to bring in by the albino elites who sit in the Vatican today. And this is Yasser Arafat, 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form, as we have shown you with that she has the skeletal structure of a woman and couldn't be male in any way. So let's keep going. And here's Yasser Arafat again, as you can see right here. Judging from the way this body sits, where do you think Yasser Arafat's navel would be? Yasser Arafat's navel would be right around here. And judging from that position, Yasser Arafat would have to be a female, because a female's navel sits higher up in the torso, and her waist of female indentation is always going to be above that navel. And we split the length of the body, or the torso of the body, in half, from the navel down to where the hips and the Q angle is below the crotch, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female. You can even tell from the short shoulders and the thicker midsection that this female has been perpetrating a fraud on us and is a stooge of the Vatican, the albino Vatican, who are trying to be the elites and run the world. I'm sorry for my mouse today. It's acting up all over the place. I've never seen it like this, so I don't know what's the problem, so pardon me. So let's move on to the next picture. Yasser Arafat here when she was much more younger. As you can tell, that's the face of a young, let's just call her Arab for now, but we know that the truth of the matter is that they're Asians, of a young Arab female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. So because Yasser Arafat is 100% female, and whosoever this lady is happens to be, her mother would be a stooge of the Vatican, raised her for this particular purpose of being somebody that they can use to control the mindsets of the people. Because like I've said before, and I've said it in a couple of videos, I think we have a primer part 2 video, which is very, very important that you should watch that primer part 2 video. So please look for the primer part 2 video, in which we explain that the majority of transgenders that we see in our world reside in politics, and in most cases sometimes in religion as well. The transgenders that we see in Hollywood are a cover for the transgenders in politics and religion. So you guys can be focusing on the guys in Hollywood instead of looking at the transgenders over there in politics and religion. So let's move on to the next picture on Yasser Arafat. Here's Yasser Arafat again in her old age. As you can still see, there is no labia sitting down. Then you can still see that this Q angle right here is below the crotch and is very, very acute, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female. And just judging from this picture, you can see how narrow the shoulder is, and she starts spreading from underneath the elbows and gets wider, as all females do. Narrow shoulders and the thicker midsection, because that's where the widest point of the female body is supposed to be, in the midsection. And this acute Q angle of Yasser Arafat, and you can see this full thighs that a female usually has, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female. So all the time that a lot of people have been believing in Yasser Arafat, the so-called Arabs, if there are any Arabs out there, I just want you to understand that you've been living a lie. Your mindset is being used because the people, the elites, want Jerusalem. It's the Pope, the Vatican, that wants Jerusalem, and the lay Palestinians and the lay Jews don't understand that. So they are being caught up because they are following their religions from their emotions instead of thinking with their head. So that's why all religions are false. All religions in this world are false. It doesn't matter if it's Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, or whatsoever. You have to follow, because God shows you from the Bible very specific set of rules on how to follow him. You have to think with your brain. Does it make logical sense? Not just sitting and listening and being carried away by your emotions and how you feel. It has to make sense. Everything about God makes sense from start to finish. Like I've said before, the Bible is literal. It's not symbolic. It's symbolic in the sense that when these people are trying to write about stuff that's happening in the future and they have no words to put it together, they can use some sort of symbology because they don't understand what they're seeing or what God made them see. All right. So the Bible is literal in all truth and reality. So Yasser Arafat right here is 100% female, a stooge of the Vatican, setting us up for something much more greater, which we have no understanding. When you get a book, you'll understand that. Here's Yasser Arafat again. As you can see, he spreads from underneath the elbows, as all females do, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. Another picture of Yasser Arafat here. As you can still see, this acute Q angle and wider hip starts beginning to show very, very much. As you can tell that he has that A form or A shape that women usually have, narrow shoulders and wider towards the midsection, because their hips are going to be very wide. As you can see, this acute Q angle here is below the crotch, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female, not a man in any way, shape, or form. And this could happen to be one of her handlers or stooges of the Vatican used to control her. And here's Yasser Arafat again. As you can see right here, this Q angle right here, even though this chair is covering up, but you can still tell that this Q angle is very, very acute, and it's below the crotch, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. Sitting here, I think, with the former president of, I think, Egypt. I don't quite remember what his name was. But if we're not investigating him at this point in time, we're only focusing on Yasser Arafat's acute Q angle below the crotch, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female, not a man in any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry about my mouse messing up all over the place. And here's Yasser Arafat with Fidel Castro. So you have to understand that the whole governments of this world are run by the Vatican, because they are trained in the Vatican schools to be who they are before they can get into government. So all their training is done through the Vatican schools, and the Vatican controls all the governments. All right. It doesn't matter what country it is run by the Vatican, because the governments have to be led by the Vatican, because the idea is that all power has been given, that God gives us all a power, and that power is invested in the Vatican, and the Vatican delegates the power for us to rule on behalf of God. That's just the way it works. Okay, we just wanted to show you that Yasser Arafat here walks like a female. As you can see, the way she walks, even though we can't really see the feet, but we can tell that Yasser Arafat right here is walking like a female by leaning his weight into the feet that it's in front of him, in front of her rather, because that's all what females do. Females have a wider pubic arch, so because of that wider pubic arch, the female needs to balance her weight. And how she does that is that her feet, because the pubic arch is wider, the legs are farther apart, so the female's legs needs to come inside to balance the weight of the body. So a female's foot will always have to do two things: move inside and forward at the same time, which causes the female to be swinging her hips from side to side to maintain that balance. And that's what Yasser Arafat is doing here, as you can see right here. We don't know about Fidel Castro for now. He's not under trial investigation, but if we find out in the future that he's not the gender he claims, we'll make a video about her by then, if we still have a channel up and the Vatican hasn't shut us down. And here's Yasser Arafat cozying up to the Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme ruler of Iran. Iran has lately been in the news a lot for nuclear weapons. We've been hearing that for a whole long time, that Israel seems to have a problem with Iran. All that is used to control the public mindset through fear, because fear is the #1 tool of control in our world. Ayatollah Khomeini here is a stooge of the Vatican, just like Yasser Arafat, who's kissing up on him. Or I don't know if it's a her right now, but we don't know. If we find out there's a if we find out that Ayatollah Khomeini is not the gender that he claims, we'll make a video about him in the future. But for now, we just wanted to show you that all these people work for the Vatican. They are all close, tight-knit. So when you think that the nations are at war, they're really actually playing some sort of drama out for you, because they need to use the public mindset to be able to get what they want. Because if they can't use the public mindset, they're not going to get what they want, because they can't do it themselves. You have to understand that the Vatican can't get all this thing done by itself. It needs the people for that to be successful. It's just like any sports that you watch. All right, without the fans, the players are just by themselves. That's just the way it works. So the Vatican needs you. You don't need them, but they need you for them to be successful in whatever they want to do, because they can't do it on their own. Okay? Another picture of, we already showed you that picture of Yasser Arafat. And here's Yasser Arafat with Nelson Mandela. A lot of people think that Nelson Mandela was a staunch and advocate of the so many people, especially in South Africa, who were going through racism in the form of apartheid. But Nelson Mandela is a stooge of the Vatican, just like every other leader in the world is. Because if he was telling you the truth, he should have told you that Yasser Arafat is a female right here and not a man in any way, shape, or form. But Nelson Mandela did not tell you. So now here is the difference of how you see the difference between a man and a woman sitting down, in the sense of how long, all right, the pelvic region is. So the pelvis of a female is going to be longer and bigger than that of a male, and it's going to start higher up in the torso, as you can see right here. From where Yasser Arafat belts sit, is higher up in the torso, and where Nelson Mandela sits right here is much more lower in the torso, because this is female and this is male. And you can tell the Q angle here is below the crotch, while that of Mr. Nelson Mandela is high above the crotch, and we just can't see it. And you can see the difference between the two, that this looks like there's a scrotum in here, and this one doesn't look like any, because you can see how the thighs sit. And you can see that this is a long pelvic region of a female, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. Here is another picture of Yasser Arafat in his old age. You can still see that this Q angle and hips now begin to show very much the long pelvic region and the cute Q angle below the crotch. Who knows what he died of? She could have died of maybe taking too much of those hormones into her body, trying to be male. And the public is lied to and said that maybe she died some sort of cancer, leukemia, or whatever the case might be. This is just the case because when you transgender yourself, or when you mutilate yourself rather, you're putting your body through a very difficult state, and you might end up dead. So maybe this is what killed Yasser Arafat, and rather we are made to believe that she died of whatsoever causes, which could have been all the hormones that she's been taking since childhood in being a stooge of the Vatican. As you can see, the long pelvic region of Yasser Arafat, the acute Q angle below the crotch, because she is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. Here's Yasser Arafat again, and this is clear as night and day. We should end the video right here. This should suffice, because you can actually see that this is a female. As you can see, it's spreading and getting wider from underneath the elbows. I'm sorry about my mouse today. It's all over the place, but I'm going to try as much as possible to blow up this picture. You guys can see spreads from underneath the elbow and gets wider, and a very acute Q angle below the crotch, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape, or form. So let's go to another picture on Yasser Arafat again, spreading like a female sits there, because that's a wide pubic arch right there, because Yasser Arafat is 100% female, as you can tell. A very wide pubic arch. No man can sit this wide. You can see right here the space in between the thighs forms a U, because when men sit, it's more like a V shape than a U shape. And Yasser Arafat has a U shape because she's 100% female, another man in any way, shape, or form. All right, I think we've come to the end of today's video, and that's all we had for you. Please subscribe to our channel. Like we said, the second channel, Tricks of the S-Straight 2, in case this one goes down, at least we can have some sort of forum to get across to you. And please get our book. We are not just trying to sell you a book. We're trying to put information in your hands that will help you and your generation for a lifetime, so they have some sort of semblance of truth. Because we believe in all sincerity that a book may be the only form of history that we have left, and it's the next best thing after the Bible, like we've always said. So please get our book. If you sent us an email, we'll send you an email with the price and cost of shipping of the book. If you send us an email currently, we'll still add you to that list, and we'll still give you the price and information on the cost of the book, so you can know how much it's going to cost. And we ship the book to you anywhere in the world, provided you have an address. All right, so please do that. Download all our videos, and we leave you with these words as usual: look with your eyes, but always see with your brain. Thanks, and I'll talk with you guys later again.